This is only one of two versions of the Jack Rants podcast. For the full version, go to my library channel or follow the link in the description down below.
You are listening to the Jack Rants Podcast. Here is your host, Jack Rants.
Welcome back to the Jack Rants Podcast, where we talk about whatever with whomever we like. Today I will be having a sit-down discussion with two very gifted, very musically beautiful artists. So let's not waste any time and go straight into the interview.
Hi, I'm Matt O'Neill.
I'm Sophie Jones.
And we are The Distance, a acoustic, sometimes live looping duo.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. I've been following you guys a couple months now, but I really dig your sound. It's very soft but calming.
Thank you very much.
First question I have is the obvious one. When did you meet and start making music together?
You're going to get in trouble now, aren't you?
We probably started around 10 years ago, maybe.
11.
Yeah. 11.
He's in trouble already.
In an official capacity,
Yeah.
Probably closer to 10.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think at first we did what a lot of people do. We went out with sort of backing tracks and that type of thing. And it was a fairly sort of simple show where we would just sing and play along a little bit. And then I think after about 4 years, we ditched the backing tracks completely and went fully acoustic. After a couple of years of that, I got hold of a loop pedal. And from that point, we just became inundated with gear and effects and various silly things. So we have kind of two sides to the show now. One is a completely acoustic, stripped back type thing, which is good for coffee houses and that type of thing. And the other is a much more involved live looping show where we use drum pads and keys and bass and synth type stuff to build a bigger sound. And there are two different playlists on our YouTube channel that showcase those two different aspects of what we do.
Yeah, I didn't even know that you had a second channel that was mostly original music. I actually just listened to your new song, Broken Shoes. I really liked it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, so the originals, we wanted to try and keep them separate from the covers because the covers is something that we do for a living. And the originals is something that we're just trying to pursue at the minute, trying to climb the mountain that is the Spotify ladder.
Yeah, we didn't really think that this was possible, but as a covers duo, we've built up something of a following, and occasionally people book us to play at their event or their birthday party or whatever, and so they know us as a covers duo. So I think there was maybe one time in the past where we casually mentioned on our sort of covers social media, we've written an original song.
This was like 2018. That was a while ago.
And somebody who'd booked us got in touch and said, "Oh, you're not doing covers anymore? You're not just going to do all originals, are you?" So we thought, okay. So even at this kind of sort of low level, there's still a potential for kind of confusion and conflict. And we thought, okay, well, we'll just keep it completely separate. We'll be at the bottom of every ladder that we decide to climb, and we'll do it that way, you know.
So yeah, we released our first single, No Excuse. Well, actually, I wrote a little Christmas song, didn't I? Like,
it was beautiful.
7 days before Christmas, and Matt decided to make this massive arrangement. It was called It Doesn't Snow. It was really beautiful what you did with it, the strings and everything like that. He's very proud now. And yeah, so we didn't have enough time to kind of shout that out to Spotify and everything like that. So that was just a Bandcamp release, and then we had our first proper release, No Excuse, in January, and then Broken Shoes has just come out like a week ago, which feels like a month.
Yeah, so I suppose technically it's our third single, but as far as most people are concerned, it's our second.
Second, really.
And
we're going to push the Christmas one this Christmas properly to like Spotify. We've got it already to go to be pushed out.
Yeah, we'll pretend that we just wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we're just trying to pursue that at the minute, and it's we've had a really nice response from the last two, haven't we? We've had a really good.
Yeah, people seem to be liking it.
Yeah, a lot of radio play, which is nice.
What's your favorite cover that you've done so far?
Very, very difficult.
We were talking about this yesterday, and we have a a cover that Matt decided that we should do not this year, last year, when we started filming in our living room, of Boys of Summer. Don Henley, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was copywritten, not just copywritten as in the artist that wrote the song gets the money. It was copywritten completely, not allowed to go on YouTube whatsoever.
Our first and only strike.
So it's only allowed to go on Facebook, which it's on right now, and Vimeo.
Everybody go to Facebook, watch it. It's amazing.
But it was amazing. We put so much effort into it, and I think that's probably one of yours, isn't it? The one that was. Do you think you're more fond of it because you're not allowed to put it on?
Oh, absolutely,
YouTube?
yeah, totally. No, that was our first experience of like, oh, right, okay, so there's I don't know, maybe a generational thing. I mean, since this happened, obviously we've looked into it a little bit more, and the general rule with YouTube and general sort of streaming type situations is just avoid all the Eagles stuff, avoid all of Don Henley stuff, because they literally have a team of guys who go on the internet every day and search for instances of their song being played or covered or broadcast. But for us, that we were sort of like, oh, what have we done?
Yeah,
we're
not going to be thrown off YouTube. We'd literally just
we just covered a song that we really like.
Yeah,
and
it's
now
strange.
We're slightly less so.
No, we love it more, if anything.
Yeah.
But one that I particularly like is a Kate Bush cover, Running Up That Hill, that we did. Just very stripped back. I think you're an electric on it, aren't you? With like a nice chorus sound.
Yeah.
And just harmonies. I love harmonies.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. Somebody was about to play it on the radio.
In California last weekend.
2 days ago in San Francisco. And somehow they clicked on the wrong thing and ended up playing What's Up, you know, that Four Non Blondes song. So that went out. We were just like, what happened? We posted on social media, oh, they're going to play Running Up That Hill in 10 minutes. No, they're not.
No, they're playing something else. They chose for us.
But it's complicated, isn't it? Because there's different buttons to press. And
there's no excuse.
All that stuff.
Literally.
What's funny is the song made me discover you because it's one of my favorite bands, and it's not just one of my favorite bands, but it's a song I rarely ever see covered. Was A Good Boy by Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Because I love that song so much because it's one of those songs that like is just simple, but it's really hard to cover.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you guys legitimately have the best cover I've ever heard of that song.
Thank you so much, man.
That's all goes on that. I didn't hear about the Bare Naked Ladies before we met.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some of like the weirdest. Like I think they like. It's funny because like the reason I like them is because I'm a big fan of adaptable musicians, and I see a lot of you both being able to be adaptable to the sounds of different rhythms and beats and styles. Like, you know, kind of like that's the reason I love David Bowie. Or these certain musicians who you just like kind of can like do jazz, like okay, or do more rock, okay, you know what I mean? Like you kind of adapt to it. You both have that adaptability, and I think that it is something that is very unique, especially now. The way the music scene is, where a lot of it seems more, I don't want to say manufactured, but more generic sounding, I guess, is a weird way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's evident nowhere more so than the cover, the looping side of things, where, you know, if we're going to cover a song, we're probably going to attempt as closely as possible to get to the sound and feel of the original, unless we're doing a deliberately sort of stylized version of it.
Which doesn't help with copyright claims.
Yeah.
It would be exactly the same as the original.
Yeah, if we had any brains, we'd be doing everything as like acid skiffle.
Yeah, or a funk.
But so for example, we might take on Hooked on a Feeling, that Blue Swede song, and that's all kind of fairly organic, choppy guitars and like brass. A big fat bass line and like some synth brass that we figured out how to trigger from the guitar. So the sound of that compared to something like
Cecilia,
or Bad Guy, I guess, that we put out a cover of recently, which is very sort of electronic and synth based and a much more sort of, I mean, there's 35 years between the two songs. So with the same equipment, we're able to emphasize different aspects and different sounds and that type of thing. But coming back to What a Good Boy, it's such a, like you say, it's such a great song. It's so beautifully written, such simple but kind of direct and universal lyrics, and such a simple chord progression. We really like songs that just have like 4 chords in them. Something like that. All you really need to do is sing the song, and you kind of can't go wrong with it, you know?
Right. So your sound's very stripped down, and obviously acoustics is a huge part of that. But in your opinion, what is like the difference between like a great song and just a kind of average song?
Oh man, well for me it would be harmonies.
Hmm.
Another one that you kind of introduced me to was the Indigo Girls, and I absolutely love the not just that they harmonize together, but they create how would you put it? They create 2 different lead lines, 2 different lead vocals that they overlap together, and then somehow they all just join together, and it's just harmonious.
Yeah,
It's
it becomes more than a lead singer with somebody harmonizing.
Yeah,
to them.
It's just done so differently than what I've ever heard before. So we're trying to incorporate that into our original stuff at the minute. But yeah, basically a song has to have a harmony or 2 at least. We're always jealous that we never get that 3rd harmony in the line.
Yeah, and the right ratio as well, because if something is harmonized all the way through,
it might as well not be there really.
Kind of, yeah, unless that's so much part of the sound that you can't perform it any other way. I'm thinking about people like the Everly Brothers and a lot of a lot of that type of sound absolutely relies on that 2 vocal thing. But for me, I don't know, a harmony that just comes out of nowhere and is maybe an unusual note choice or something like that. Really there's a song, do you remember that album The Bends by Radiohead? There's a song called Black Star. In the second verse, there's just a harmony that comes out of nowhere on the when everything's dropped away, and it's basically just a vocal and a bass and drums. And every time it comes in, it just absolutely makes the song for me. As far as from a writing point of view, or even from a sort of inception point of view, I don't really know if there is such a thing as a great song versus a good song, because it's so subjective. You know, what floats our boat might be completely unlistenable to the next person. So
I mean, we don't listen to like the top 20 or anything like that these days. The most modern thing we've covered is Bad Guy, and that was for a lady that asked us to do it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a request.
More like into our 90s. It's from 60s, 50s really, to 90s.
Yeah, but again, you know, that's like I say, that's our subjective opinion.
Yeah.
So I mean, I suppose a roundabout sort of answer might be a great song is one that finds a way to communicate directly with the heart or the soul of a listener somewhere. And a song that does that to 4 people instead of 4 million people is equally valid in our books.
Yeah.
How's COVID like affected your performing or writing and like just overall like lives since the whole pandemic?
Well, one would think that we would be very unhappy. If anything, we've been the happiest that we've been for creating and just having a structure. Normally we're out gigging 4 or 5 times a week. So we're pre-COVID. So this is like giving us the time to sit down and either perform covers for people that want, you know, a birthday present or something like that, or for your anniversary or whatever. We built a massive filming studio in our living room in April last year. So we were kind of ahead of it. We knew that it wasn't going away anytime soon. And tried to make the most of all of that. And then also in terms of writing as well for O'Neill and Jones, the original stuff, it's been nice to kind of just sit and feel like we can take the time to write, really. We've been more productive this year and felt like we haven't had a break, which is the opposite of what most people are saying. They're kind of going a little bit stir crazy with it all. But I think we've done a really good job of setting ourselves goals every week and getting things done. And if anything, when the world wakes up again, when everything opens back up again, I'm going to be a little bit like, I won't have the time to write any more music or perform any more covers.
What she's essentially saying is this is the first year where the amount of work we do bears no correlation at all to the amount of money we earn.
Do you guys have any interesting, like, funny, like, gig stories of like weird things that happened when you were performing, or like, you know, like some weird happening like after a show or before a show or whatever?
Oh, you killed a man that time, didn't you?
Oddest thing that normally happens to us is, as musicians, where I think most creative people can really attest to this, is that we're quite insecure. We want to feel that validation from people. I mean, my mum creates like these amazing little beach art things, and she's exactly the same. And I come to realize with her opening up that little business that it's not just musicians, it's anybody, an artist, or anything like that really. So we've had quite a lot of people either on a dance floor or just sitting and with a drink, just giving us the most, from my opinion, the most dirtiest of stares, and it puts you off completely. When we're looping, especially, it's a whole dance. It's a whole thing. Every step has to be in time. We both have to be in sync with each other. We both have to be constantly looking to see what the next one is doing, because the song is created in that way. So if there's anyone that we kind of feel like doesn't like it, it really puts you off. But 9 times out of 10, that person comes up at the end of the night and says, "That was amazing. That's the best thing I've ever seen in my life." And I was like, if only your face could have shown that.
Yeah, that's no good to me now, mate.
You've put me off for the last 5 hours, and now you're telling me it's the best thing I've ever seen.
Move, clap, dance. Just give me something to work with.
God. Yeah. So that's the thing that I've learned to kind of ignore and then see how it plays out, basically, because it can kind of ruin your whole night. And then when they come up and
it's a really interesting thing, that as well, because like you say, anybody who stands on a stage, unless you're a complete psychopath, is probably quite nervous and quite aware of the fact that you are really just sort of saying, "Hey, judge me," kind of thing,
opening your heart up.
So when and it's really easy to be put off by something that you perceive to be a sort of negative response to what it is you're doing. But it seems, like you say, that the face for "I hate that" and the face for "I'm fascinated by what you're doing and I don't want to miss anything," they're very similar faces.
Yeah, they really are.
So we have to be we have to constantly remind ourselves that, like, whatever it is you think that another human is thinking, you're going to be wrong 50% of the time. So you might as well assume that everybody thinks it's great.
Yeah.
Because even if you turn out to be right, you're allowing that one connection that you perceive to not be going well to interfere with the connections that you're making with the other 200 people in the room or whatever. And I suspect that probably applies at whatever scale you're working in. If you're at Carnegie Hall, the chances are that there's going to be somebody in that sea of 10,000 people.
You're going to be looking at them the whole night.
Who looks like, and you really zero in on them as well, because it's like, tell me what you need.
What's wrong? So I mean, that happens. That used to happen. It hasn't happened in a year now.
But for me, it's it's still the time you killed that fella.
Throwing me off if like someone came up to me with like their arms crossed and snarled and says, "That was the best performance I've ever seen." Like, I'd be like, thanks. Like
99.9% of the time, it's a guy in his 50s, 60s, and we just feel like, oh, he's not into the electronic side of it. He's more into the acoustic side, which we did earlier on. But they like it more often than they don't. Really.
Yeah, it's true, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like because
it's all live.
Yeah.
I think they like. I mean, with a band, with a 4 or 5 piece band, like everyone just starts at once, whereas we kind of build it from there. And if it goes wrong, then it goes wrong. We don't start again, but we undo things and things like that. But I think they can see that it's live and see that we struggle sometimes, which quite a lot of the time.
The struggle's part of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it is the whole show.
Yeah, and the arguments afterwards.
Especially if the electrics in the venue are a bit dodgy and we we get the equipment shut down every
yeah,
12 minutes.
Yeah, that's fun. We
We
have
have
like
to-
20 different pieces of equipment to restart while keeping an audience engaged. But yeah, no, we have some fun times.
Yeah.
So you touched a little bit about it earlier, but what artists specifically for each of you just made you want to, go, oh, I want to do this. Like, I really want to get involved in the music scene. I want to be a musician because certain artists, whoever. What like one of, you don't have to say every one of them, but what is like one artist that you're like, yeah, I think they're a big inspiration for me, or they're the ones I really wanted to get into because of them?
For me, it's the Indigo Girls again, especially for the guitar side of it. Emily Saliers, I think that's how you say her last name, is an amazing guitarist. She was trained classically from the age of 5, I believe, and she's very, very good on ukulele, guitar, banjo, which Matt has just bought a banjo, so I'm going to steal that from you. But yeah, and then the pianist side of me, which is pretty non-existent at the minute.
Again?
The pianist side.
Again? One more?
The pianist side of me, which hasn't been playing very much in the last year or so. But I'd say Sarah Bareilles. She's just amazing.
She's so talented.
Oh, she makes me sick. She's so good, and lyrically as well. The Indigo Girls and Sarah Bareilles as well, not just as musicians but as writers as well. They just conjure up questions. They conjure up stories, and then you have questions. Yeah, I feel like the majority of the music on the top 20 right now doesn't really make you think very much. It's kind of a bit mind-numbing.
Yeah, it's kind of anti-thought.
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah. But yeah, those are the two for me. Those are perfection.
I think I would probably have to say Ben Folds. He was, I think I was probably about 16 or 17 around the time that they just released Ben Folds 5, his trio had just released their second album, and I think I was round at a friend's house and they had MTV on sort of low in the background, and one of their songs came on, The Battle of Who Could Care Less.
Oh wow, that's a great title.
Yeah, it's great. And we were literally mid-conversation, and I just happened to glance over as it started. And about 3.5 minutes later, one of my friends said, "Are you all right?" Yeah, because I'd literally just gone,
oh wow,
and just sat completely captivated for the whole three minutes
Wow.
that video lasted. And it just had absolutely everything. It was the first time I found myself thinking, this has literally got everything that I need from music, from a song, from an artist. I've always been hugely jealous of anyone who could play piano, so there's a tick right there. Harmonies again, as you said,
Yeah.
just a huge thing for me.
And
So the
also
fact
the
that
drums in Ben Folds 5 are pretty awesome. as
yeah,
well.
incredible.
So
And the
just-
fact that the drummer also sings, so they have between
Yeah.
them they have these
Three
glorious 3-part harmonies going on
jealous.
through a lot of their stuff, creating such a big and at the time quite sort of not angry but quite aggressive sound with what would probably generally be seen as a sort of more classical or jazz collection of instruments, just piano, bass and drums, not guitar in sight. So that aspect of it just floored me as well. And the songs, as I then went off and kind of took a closer look and started becoming just completely obsessed, I realized, there's a thing in music where it doesn't actually have to be entirely serious. You can be silly, or you can write in a silly or funny or light-hearted way, but it can still be heartbreakingly beautiful if it's approached from a genuine angle. A few years previous to that, I discovered the presidents of the United States of America, and I insist on saying their full name every time. Ever since I saw them on, I can't remember what show it was, but somebody introduced them as the presidents of the USA.
No.
The presidents of the United States, and they, instead of starting the song like they were supposed to, they went,
no.
"Of America."
Oh my god.
I just thought, yeah, go on,
You
son.
tell them.
Anyway, they introduced me to the idea that songs could just be stupid and silly and about ridiculous things. But it was Ben Folds 5 that took that concept and made me realize, but they also don't always have to sound tongue-in-cheek or kiddie or poppy. They can also be quite heartbreakingly beautiful at times. So yeah, that's my incredibly long-winded answer.
It's all good. Do you ever plan, or do you ever see yourself doing more of kind of more like a harder style of music, kind of more like, like kind of like hard rock or something like that? Or do you feel like you're more accustomed or just cool with doing more like keeping with the acoustic style? Or would you like be willing to challenge yourself, or are you kind of just more comfortable with how your sound is now?
I think Matt has written a couple of songs that are more rocky.
Yeah, I do like the sound of a
Electric.
full band, bass, drums, guitars,
Electric as well.
electric. Yeah, it's difficult when it's a duo, I suppose.
Unless you're the White Strokes.
Well, yeah.
But we did a cover of Seven Nation Army.
Yeah.
That's probably the rockiest we've gotten, to be honest.
Yeah, I think from a writing point of view, our natural instinct is to do something
Folk.
acoustic or
Yeah.
folky or something that kind of something that if we suddenly found ourselves being invited onto a TV show to play it, we wouldn't have to frantically scrabble around for a week looking to put a band together.
Yeah.
Something that we could probably pull off just the two of us,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
maybe one other guy on a slide guitar or whatever.
And also with our original stuff, we do a full production thing with strings, bass, guitar, layers of harmonies and things like that. And then we also do an acoustic version, which would be more of if we were booked to play this original song, that's what we would sound like, basically. So we like to do both.
Yeah, and in terms of covers, I mean, we'll attempt whatever the song requires. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, we did Money by Pink Floyd.
yeah, that we gave that a go. I ended up playing a Dave Gilmour guitar solo on a harmonica.
Yeah, chromatic.
because I'm not a
wasn't
good enough guitarist.
it? Was it a chromatic?
No, it was just a straight
Oh, I see. Right.
diatonic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's, I don't know, that might be the most rocky we've
I
got
think so.
so far.
And that was a commission as well. That wasn't one that we chose. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and Place Your Hands back in the day,
Oh,
before
yeah,
we knew
yeah.
what we were doing, we put out a cover of Place Your Hands, and we're just horrified by it.
Don't
now.
go that far back.
Yeah.
The
Stop.
only reason why it's still there is because our watch hours, we've just been able to monetize our channel, so it's still there.
We can't
And it's
spare
got like
the watch
10,000
time.
views.
There's going to be
So-
a call at some point.
Yeah,
but-
they'll all go. But we're constantly feeling like even the one that we put out like last week or whatever needs to be redone. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
we
weird
just-
that, isn't it? You always have a sort of much more of a fond attitude towards the recent stuff you did. I don't know why that is necessarily.
Because we've grown.
Yeah, and that's probably the right attitude to have, I suppose. I mean, if you still think that what you did 10 years ago,
It's good.
if you still think you couldn't do better, then
Yeah.
it's probably time to stop, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you had just kind of just blatantly like imagine it this way, if you had 100% creative control and you got to pick the venue, you got to pick like who's playing with you, you could even pick like an artist, a famous artist to perform with you, and you could only do one song, like what would be that song?
Oh man, give me about a week to think about
Yeah.
this. Go on.
A month for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to play in Nashville, just in general. I'd like to go there and play, and I'd like to play a song that we're about to release in the next couple of months that we've just started writing, but it's not to do with covers. It's a song called Home by the Sea that we've just written, which is about missing home. But yeah, I feel like that, because it's unreleased at the minute and we're still working on it, that's like the one that's most fresh in my brain. Or an Indigo Girls song. As usual, just all the Indigo
Maybe we
Girls
could get
songs.
the Indigo Girls in to sing on.
Yeah, we wish.
Home by the Sea in Nashville.
Yeah,
So it's not too far for them. I'm sure they're probably passing through there anyway.
I'm
at some
sure,
point.
yeah.
And if we could maybe have Ben Folds
Yeah, there we go.
on
yeah.
the keys as
We're
well.
just a broken record, basically. We like who we like, and that's it. It's
Yeah.
like 3 people.
Oh, and Reggie Watts to
oh
MC.
man,
He could bring us
he's
on.
amazing. Yeah.
He could do like 45 minutes to warm the
Yeah,
crowd up.
yeah.
He would just be a band, but he's a band by himself. I don't know how he does what he does.
Amazing.
Yeah, I would just book Reggie Watts and just give him a microphone. Just stop
I
when
don't
my
need to perform. You go ahead. So.
Yeah, I'll just give him my credit card and say, "Tell me when it runs out."
From
just-
soon.
Literally sit and watch that man for days on end.
He's amazing.
Say there was an artist who's not here anymore, like an artist that's never, gotten a chance, you've never got a chance to meet or whatever, like who would you like legit want to meet that's no longer with us anymore? Doesn't have to be performance wise. It could just be, you know, casually getting to meet them.
I reckon for you, Jack, it would have to be David Bowie, wouldn't it?
You know what? Honestly, I was thinking about it, but it'd probably be for me Freddie Mercury, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
God.
I think he would just be so. It would be weird to meet him just because he didn't really do many public appearances, or it'd be a cross up between him and John Lennon, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did a another commission for someone a couple of months ago, which is a song that I grew up, an artist that I grew up listening to. My little sister Eva is named after Eva Cassidy. And we did a cover of Fields of Gold for someone who wanted the video for an anniversary gift. And as I said, I've been listening to her cover of Songbird, her cover of Fields of Gold, Over the Rainbow, People Get Ready, all that kind of stuff. And I thought I could sing it perfectly because I've been singing it for so many years. But I actually realized her breath control and her range is very intimidating.
Incredible.
Yeah, she was amazing, absolutely amazing. And Prince, probably. I'm just going to add on a load of choices after this. Prince is the coolest mofo in the world. Yeah, he's absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved his very under the radar Nothing Compares to You with Rosie Gaines. It's a live performance, and I know he sung. But man, that's one that I don't even think it's on YouTube anymore. I think it's on a back end black market kind of website where I occasionally go to listen to it. But yeah, that's a beautiful song. And the live version of it with Rosie Gaines is pretty awesome as well. What was the question again?
The artists you'd like to meet if they're the ones that are no longer here.
For him to perform that song and Eva Cassidy for me, yeah.
I think it would be really interesting to see what Jeff Buckley would have done.
Oh, man.
If he hadn't sadly passed away so early. I think it felt like that was just the start of something incredible. That album Grace. So yeah, I mean, be really nice to not only to meet him, but to also say, right, thanks for coming back from the dead to meet me. Now can you go on another 5-year-long career or something, so that we can see
we can learn from
what you get up to, you know.
Yeah.
And he's an artist that I don't spend a lot of time thinking about. I wasn't a huge Jeff Buckley fan, but there were certain moments in that album that just sent shivers down my spine. And I think at the time I was listening to it, it was just, there's another album here by another guy that I'm not familiar with, and then discovering afterwards, this guy's actually passed away, and here's a little bit of backstory about the potential that he had, and the fact that he was seemed like such a musical prodigy, and that album's just from start to finish is a triumph. So yeah, I think it'd be really nice to see what would have been.
Kind of the same thing with Eva Cassidy as well. Her music became famous just after she passed away.
It's not a competition, so we can have all the reanimated corpses you like in this film.
What is a thing your fans or like your subscribers or anyone that listens to your music wouldn't know about you? Like what's a random fun fact about each other or yourselves that like the casual fan wouldn't know?
Well, until this goes out, it would have been you killing that fellow, wouldn't it?
Some people think we're American because we don't talk on.
We're not American.
On camera. Yeah,
I'm
Welsh. I'm from Swansea.
Hey.
I've travelled about. Oh, we could say how much we've travelled as children, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I was I moved to Cyprus for 4 years when I was a kid, and then moved to Cyprus from Cyprus to Blackpool. Don't ask me why. And then from Blackpool to New Zealand, where my dad lives, and then back. And then back to the UK. And then I met you. So yeah, that's our accents are a little bit all over the place. Some people think I'm South African sometimes. I've heard that. I had that in the post office like a year ago. Someone asked if I was South African. But yeah, I'm Welsh originally, so yeah.
And I was the second gunman. Oh no, I was going to do a bit more then, but
no, you've got to censor yourself.
I saw the conversation out in my head and thought, actually, no, that's not appropriate at all. So yeah, I have second gunman. That's all you need to know.
So, is there anything you guys would like to plug for your channel, or just plug in general? You can go ahead.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you.
Thank you.
What are we up to?
Well, we have another commission coming out in a couple of days for a lady who is away at war right now. Would you say at war?
She's just her on her
own. Just her on her own. She's a helicopter pilot, a medic, and we're doing a cover for her wife for her birthday. So that's coming up.
That's going to be fun. That is going to be in the next few days. So keep an eye out on our YouTube channel, which is YouTube something / The Distance Duo. Yeah.
And then also we have a couple of originals coming out as well, which our original name is O'Neill and Jones. How do you spell your name, your last name? Right?
Just guess. Just go for
There's
it.
an apostrophe in there, put it that way, and it's the bane of our existence.
O'Neill and Jones.
Yeah.
Just type it into Google and see what comes back.
So yeah, we have a couple of originals coming out in the next.
We should say that we've just put out a new song called Broken Shoes, which Sophie mentioned earlier, and you can find the official video for that on YouTube / O'Neill and Jones, or you could just go on Spotify and type in O'Neill and Jones Broken Shoes, and it should pop up. Or Apple Music. Other streaming services are available. They're just not as good.
Teaser, Diddle.
Teaser, Diddle, Diphthong, and
Google,
and Splonge.
Yep. Splonge.
Any of those services will probably have it. And there's a new one coming in about a month.
Yeah, about a month.
Keep an eye out.
We're trying to focus on a release plan right now, which is one every 6 weeks.
Whatever you say.
Yep.
Whatever you say.
Yep. I'm following a release plan right now. He's making it happen. Every 6 weeks, a new original song. So
yeah. Our acoustic covers are available in glorious high def download form from
distancemusic.bandcamp.com, and then our original stuff.
So professional.
Is o'neillandjones.bandcamp.com, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Just find us somewhere.
All the links will be in the description.
Just do that.
Find us somewhere and follow us there. You're going to have to do a bit of the work yourselves.
Well, thank you guys so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. Absolute pleasure.